Hey everybody, are we about to get the actual videos from the Epstein Island with the files that we've been waiting for? Look, I know and completely understand that we have gotten pump faked a couple different times and that these would be like over a decade overdue to be released to the people. So I understand why we've all been skeptical, but really, honestly, we've had a few indicators that are leading me to believe that if things go the way it seems like they might be about to go, I might owe a couple people an apology. Because it really looks like we're about to get some bombs that I don't know if the public is ready for.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been.
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
So for those of you who don't know, that was Attorney General Pam Bondi at a lunch meeting. And she was asked directly about the timeline of the release of the Epstein files, and her response was utterly shocking. She said that what the issue is, what the holdup is, why they haven't been released yet, is that there are thousands of videos that include little kids. And of course, they're not going to be able to release that stuff unedited. They're going to have to edit out any minor victims that are in that situation because they can't just distribute videos that include kids of that nature? Absolutely not. But the fact that they're even acknowledging that they have these videos and that these videos include minors, this is the first time that we've gotten any real substantial admission from our government that these videos exist and that they are in their possession. And she's talking about editing out the ones that include minors so they can be released to the public. That is an absolute bombshell drop right there. Now, all of this is coming from James O'Keefe Media, and James O'Keefe is fairly connected, and that video was leaked to him. So his office got in contact with Pam Bondi, and her response used almost the same exact language as what was said in that video. And then, in fact, later in the week, we got this.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know.
Now, here's the thing. This is not the only leaked video that James O'Keefe has released within the last week. He has a whole nother leaked video that I don't think he's actually supposed to have this stuff, except the only thing that makes sense to me when you really think about it, where did he get these leaked videos? I think there's a really good chance that this came from Cash or Pam themselves to his office. I think that they might be leaking this stuff a little bit at a time to sort of desensitize the people, to get us prepared for what's coming, because there's a huge chance that what's coming is going to be so much more unimaginably horrific and disgusting than anything that we've thought before, that this might be their way of dipping their little pinky toe in the water for the people so that we could get a little tester. Maybe they're testing us to see how we're going to respond. Maybe they're preparing us for what's coming. We know that that's a government tactic. We know that that's something that they regularly will do, desensitize you a little bit so that your reaction isn't completely blown out of the water. But in this video, we're going to get through this whole thing. We're going to be investigating this. We're going to see what James O'Keefe has. I'm going to give some of my personal theories, and we're going to see what we can make of all of this. So buckle up, guys, because this is going to be a wild one. Since they have given us no answers for so long, the American people have been left with nothing but questions about the Epstein situation. Now, there's a lot of people who I believe are asking the wrong questions. There's a lot of people who are hyper-focused on the list. They want to know who else was involved. And while that's entirely fair, we need to be more specific about which list, because we already have his flight logs, but the flight logs are inconclusive. Some of those flights went to completely innocuous and innocent places. Some of those went to the island. And just because somebody went to the island, it isn't concrete enough proof that they were involved in the stuff that we want to know about. Now, it's definitely sus. Don't get me wrong. If you went to that island, what were you doing there? We need to know. But what's more important is, who do we have evidence on? because that's really what's going to seal that deal. So the idea that we're now finding out that we have video, tens of thousands of videos, that's huge, because this is the first time that our government has ever made that admission that they actually have that. But they haven't named anyone but Epstein and numerous children. Of course, they haven't named the children, but they've said that they exist, and they've said that that's what the lag is. Now, I think one really important question that a lot of people don't really grasp is, who was Epstein working for? Because Epstein was absolutely an operative. He was an operative, and his whole goal was to get blackmail material on these elites. The people that are on the list that you want to know about, they're not the people behind the scenes who are orchestrating all of this so that they could manipulate these elites. Yes, the elites are disgusting creatures, but the people behind the scenes, that's what I really want to know about. Who was he working for? And are those people involved in our current administration? Now, there's been multiple things that have set me off to make me think that those people are still in power in this country right now. The way that we got pump faked on the Epstein files. You know, Pam Bondi said they were going to release him, and what they released was stuff that we already had. It was completely and totally useless. And then Kash Patel coming out and saying that he believed that Epsteined himself, instead of what's pretty much obvious to everybody else, that Epstein was Epsteined by somebody else to prevent him from exposing everything that was going on behind the scenes. And the fact that it seems like someone from the inside is leaking information to James O'Keefe is really important. And today we're going to look at what he has gotten on this second leak, which is something that we've never seen before. James O'Keefe has brought the fire with this. He is going to give us the inside look at the inside buildings of Epstein Island. We've gotten plenty of outside footage, but you've never seen the inside of these buildings. And some of this, I'm going to warn you, is highly disturbing.
O'Keefe Media is releasing never-before-seen footage from inside the buildings on Jeffrey Epstein's island. The island, known as Little St. James, is located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Drones have flown overhead in the past, independent journalists have snuck ashore, but no footage or images from inside these buildings has ever been published until now. This footage was captured about a year after Epstein's arrest. In this world-exclusive, O'Keefe Media Group takes you through the kitchen inside the main mansion, a villa used for hosting high-profile visitors and events. Through our reporting, we can confirm this footage is authentic.
So this was taken about a year after Epstein's arrest. So this footage is old. This is old footage, and all of a sudden it's surfacing through James O'Keefe, who is very connected to people in our current administration. I think you see where I'm going with this. I think that this was given to him by somebody from the inside. Where else would he have gotten this? Ask yourself that question. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. If you think there's a possibility he got this from some other outside source, explain to me how. How would they have it? How would it have gotten to him? Specifically him.
You'll see the entire kitchen is a sterile white with stainless steel appliances. There are sparse decorations, including a few pieces of coral, but there does appear one prominent artwork, a large framed photo of a nude baby in a sink. The baby is holding a phallic-shaped object.
That's disturbing. That's beyond disturbing to me. And I want to point out that Epstein had an affinity for art that sent specific messages that were just a little bit coded. If you remember what he had as the centerpiece in his home, and I believe his New York home, he had several homes. I believe it was his New York home. When you walked in, the first thing that you saw was a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. And who had multiple trips documented to Epstein Island? It was Bill Clinton. So it checks out. It makes sense. That was a trophy, dog. He had that painting as a trophy. That was a I got you, bitch. And he wanted everyone to know. So what message is he sending by having this particular image in his kitchen? Think about it.
Publication of this footage comes on the heels of a report last week of a royal fixer admitting Prince Andrew had sex with underage girls. And
We all knew that. That's not news. We all knew that was happening. That dude was deep in it. And see, this is why I think that Americans need to really broaden their scope with this. Because Americans, myself included, have a really strong tendency to be very America-centered. I mean, we're one of the biggest countries in the entire planet, size-wise, population-wise. We've got a lot going on over here, and we tend to be hyper-focused on our own, and we think that we're the center of the universe. But this wasn't just an America thing. The elites that Jeffrey Epstein was aiming for weren't just American, and he really nailed it with the British royal family. I mean, we can all see that he was collecting blackmail material on people in high up places in the most prominent countries in the world. And that says something more about who might be behind the strings, who might be behind the curtain, who might have been funding all of this, because we know that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have it like this. He wasn't rich from his own earnings. Somebody was funneling money to this dude to get this stuff done, to get this blackmail material.
We increasingly find ourselves in a circumstance where none of the criminals in the most powerful institutions in America are held to account for anything. And yet I report to you today, the truth always finds a way, and courage begets courage, which we know is happening as a result of these reports, because people are coming forward to us.
Whistleblowers have a long-standing history of disappearing in this country, whether they disappear to black sites, whether they end up having some death from some mysterious and sudden illness, whether they get Clintoned. We all know what getting Clintoned is. There's a ton of different ways to get Clintoned. A lot of car accidents, guys, with people that spoke out against you. And considering how intimately involved Billary was with Epstein, I think it's a valid concern. So keeping in mind the longstanding history of what happens to whistleblowers in this country when they go up against our elites, does it kind of make sense that James O'Keefe would get these leaked from some inside source? I mean, I wouldn't want to put my face on it. I wouldn't want to stamp my name and social security number on that thing if I was releasing it. I would want to do it through somebody else anonymously. And I think that's what we've gotten. It's clear and obvious that all of the video that he's brought is authentic. That is 100% real deal video. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I want to know, does this make you guys think that maybe the administration right now is actually preparing these files and preparing video to release to the public, but they need to cut the minors out? Do you guys think that it's maybe somebody from the inside that leaked these to James O'Keefe who's currently working on this? If it wasn't them, who was it? I want to know what your guys' opinion on all of this is down in the comments, because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around this. I definitely have my own theories. Who do you think was behind Jeffrey Epstein? Who do you think was funding all of this? Who do you think wanted blackmail material on elites from multiple different countries? Because I think that's the most prominent thing. And then I think at the tail end of that is, who were these people who went and participated? Because every single one of them should be brought to justice for what they did. There was a machine that allowed this to happen, and I want to see that exposed, because that's still probably operational through other channels. I'll tell you this, when a drug dealer gets busted and they're a part of a cartel machine, 2 more pop up in his place. So I strongly believe that they haven't stopped doing these Epsteinish activities. They just replaced Maxwell and Epstein and maybe made it a little more elaborate, a little more covert, a little more clandestine. So I want to see the machine get taken down, because I believe they're still out there arming kids to be able to get material on elites, to be able to use against them, to sway whatever it is that they're trying to sway. But on the tail end of that, we definitely need to know who was there, who harmed kids, who harmed anyone on that island. And I don't know if we're going to get that. I don't know if that's going to be something that we're going to get, but what do y'all think about this entire situation? Let me know down in the comments. And until the next one love, baby. Be good or be good at it.